So today we are presenting an expert tour of what's new in Dynamics 365 for customer service, field service, and sales. So we have here today John, our Senior Director of Innovation and Technology, and Kevin, our Senior Pre-Sales Solution Architect. So without further ado, I am going to hand it over to you, John.
Great, thank you, Erica. So we've got a lot of content to cover today. So go ahead, and enter in the questions up in the chat, and we'll get to them as quickly as possible. But at the end, we'll also provide you a link and some more contact information to get a hold of anybody on this call or our other teams where we can do some deeper dives for you. So with that, let's just kind of go over a couple of different pieces here. Obviously, the purpose is here to understand what are these new features. Microsoft has actually, come out with they come out with two major wave releases throughout each year, and are obviously here. They're going across all their modules across the sales, customer service, field service, marketing, and so on and so forth. And then really right here, we see a lot of customers on this particular call, and looking at this, what are some of the benefits that we get out of this, right? Microsoft puts a lot of money into research and development into a lot of these wave releases. So the benefits, where can we actually look at using some of these features that can be deployed at your own organizations and in some of your current projects to really kind of get the feature functionality. So we're going to kind of go over some of those pieces right here. So again, we only have an hour, so we're going to go over them pretty quickly. But please, if you got questions or you want to contact somebody at the end, we'll take a much deeper dive into things. So again, we are going to be covering all these four different pieces. There's a lot of releases and features in this wave 2. We're not going to cover every single one of them. We kind of picked like the top ones that we've seen a lot of customers implement in their current either projects or in their production instances across these four major modules. The next piece that we're going to kind of jump into is really some of the generic and general pieces that have been updated. So with that, I'm just going to jump in right now. And one of the new features that I really kind of liked in here was being able to edit the sitemap in some of our apps. Sorry, it looks like I got my picture cut off from me. But what we can actually do here in the sitemap is we can now update all the different areas over into the left panel. So we can actually start adding on some different navigational items, just as we saw in the past when the navigational bars were across the top. So that's a nice feature. The new introduction right now into these side panes. So, I mean, basically, what you can kind of do is you can like highlight, any one of these over here, any one of these records, and you can configure what's now called the side pane. So in this right panel side panes here, we can actually get more information without, hovering over or just giving some, basic information. But you can really see here, we can configure what quick views we want to show in these side panes without having to, again, drill down into very specific ones. So I really like that particular one out there. We've used this in a couple different projects already where we've actually added some analytical information to it, as well as this particular sample where it just, again, shows more detail. So that side panel is, I think, a fantastic new feature. Just to kind of point out again, I know it's about like mid-November, but I just still want to kind of put this out in there again. That UI browser support for IE did end up in August 21st of 2021. So I mean, we actually still do see some of these things kind of popping in here and there. We have some on-premise customers, but then we have some other ones that are still having some issues right now. So I will always want to kind of point out that that IE did end back in August. So if you're experiencing any of these issues, and if you start to see any one of these either in Chrome or Edge or IE, and if you're seeing some of these pieces, again, it'll tell you, if there's issues with it. Okay, so if you see that, again, please give us a call and we can start looking at, getting you up to the, the supported browsers. I wanted to kind of point this out really quickly. they are going to remove the module called the Dynamics 365 Custom app. So you've seen this. You should have seen this, for quite some, sometimes when they came out with the apps, they did start up with this custom one. I just want to bring it out again because I've seen customers, kind of reach out, and I've noticed that they've made a lot of, they added a lot of entities, a lot of different feature functionality into that particular app. And I'd hate to kind of see once they've kind of released everything, that app's no longer can become available. So again, just kind of pointing out that when they do update everything, that custom app will go away. So make sure you transfer, if you are using it, transfer all your entities, reports, any component that you're using over into a new app or an existing one that they have out there. Okay, Dataverse. So what I'm kind of talking about here is the relevant search is really changing. So if you're using that, and I highly recommend it, it's a fantastic search engine tool. This is all changing. And so what you need to do here, there are several steps. The first step is to really kind of make sure that you've got it, set up in your general settings area, what entities you want. So there are a couple places that you have to go ahead and turn this on, but it really does change the feature functionality of how that relevant search was working in the past. So really, it's really extending the Dataverse capabilities here. So again, very highly recommended going over to this new search capabilities. I put this one in here because I really like it, because now we have like more ability and easier ability to create new grid views and share different records and share different views. And as you can kind of see on the screen right now, you can kind of see different navigational capabilities. They changed up the UI just a little bit, kind of gave it a more modern look and feel. But again, you can kind of see, not only is it on the grid views, but if you go into the subgrid views, they all look the same. So this is, I really like this one because it makes it much easier to select more than one record and so on and so forth. But what you can actually start to do here is, if you wanted to, and what I'm kind of showing up on the screen is that ability to create your own columns. So if you're looking at any one of the views, I can choose by clicking on the column editor button right here, and by clicking on that, I can now actually start to see what additional columns do I want to add or change, and like we're showing here, to the current view. Okay, so this has become like really easy for if you use those system entity views and you just want to make just small little changes to it. Once you actually get that done and add different views, then you're actually able to save it. And like anything before, if you have the security ability, you can then go ahead and share those out to different people or teams. Okay. So again, I think it's a fantastic, new grid view, new UI. As you can see, it's a little bit cleaner, easier to highlight and select multiple records. Okay. Now we're going to move into some of the release 2, waves per customer. That's very, specific to customer service. And just kind of want to again, there's a lot of different releases out for customer service and omnichannel. We did include all of them again in this particular presentation, but here again, what are we trying to do? What are their biggest areas? They do want to personalize the service, right? So they've talked about this, how you can consistently deliver that tailored service, putting the custom into customer, giving them the 360-degree customer views. How they're starting to really leverage AI and machine learning across customer service, I think is really taking it to the next level, and how they're really empowering teams now. So, I mean, you can really kind of see they've given now the ability now where we can actually, plug in the ability to start chatting with, team members and, chatting with different teams inside teams to get us the information. But really what that is just really trying to get everybody on the same page. And again, some of those, users that we're chatting with inside teams, may or may not have a CE license. So again, it really kind of extends it across the entire department, really allowing them to, I would guess, maybe the word is swarm, to an issue if something big comes up. And again, throughout this whole year, I think Microsoft has done a phenomenal job with the application and really adding some of the AI components to it, and and really starting to add in machine learning in terms of sentiment, in terms of effort scoring, and so on and so forth. So I think we're really excited about that. And of course, I'm just going to drill down into some of the omni-channel pieces here too. So what is it really focused on again? Agent productivity. We've got phenomenal unified routing capabilities. I think that's enterprise grade. I think they've really gotten it to the point where we can really look at like how records come into the system and how they get routed to different teams or queues or agents based upon skills or based upon their capacity. And again, there's many ways that we can look at this. We can be done by effort score. A more complex case comes into the queue, and that actually can get routed to more your seasonal agents very quickly. Again, I mentioned the teams collaboration, and we added that federated search, which I just talked about before, and the Dataverse search, and that ability to kind of configure more of the knowledge base search filters. I think again really make it more easier for agents to navigate and get the answers to their customers very quickly. The omni-channel engagement. In fact, we actually just did a video with Microsoft recently during Ignite. We've been partnering with them ever since it came out in private preview, and I think really right here, this is a big, huge game changer in your customer service by really kind of saying, I'll just kind of say it this way. I mean, now we can actually start to, embed all channels. You can now not only go through email, chat, SMS, all, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, those kind of digital communications, but now Microsoft has gotten into the telephony game, and now I can either go out to Microsoft and purchase a toll-free number or a local phone number and get all of my telephony services directly from Microsoft, or if I choose to keep my own phone numbers, they've actually embedded ways that I can easily do SIM trunking, port forwarding, direct routing capabilities. So that expands now our voice capabilities into customer service, which is a huge game changer there. And again, they've really kind of embedded analytics across this topic. So again, if as different cases come in and different topics come in, it's going to highlight to different managers, what are the where are the bottlenecks, right? Where are they seeing issues inside the system? We've got that capability, to start doing that. So let's kind of move on. Let's kind of take a deeper look at a couple things here. So knowledge management, I don't know if you've used this in the past, there were several steps that you had to take that were somehow, kind of, if everybody kind of knows what I'm talking about here, we had to kind of create, a knowledge-based article and kind of get in and out of the system for approval and publishing and things like that. So we've made that into one step. They put it into a business process, as kind of shown like right here. Got a small video, but this particular business process now is going to take us right through right through it. So if this is a brand new knowledge base article is kind of showing here, now it's driven through the entire application. I don't have to come in and out of the system to ask for approval, to ask for publishing, what it's being published. I can do that while staying inside the record. Okay, which I think is very, very helpful. The other capabilities that we've actually added onto it, I'm just kind of jumping ahead of myself, once it gets published here, is that other ability to start adding real notes and attachments. So that when you actually do send out this knowledge base article, whether it be internally or externally, they have the ability to quickly look at any attachments that's associated to it. So again, in the past, that was a little bit, a couple different steps we had to do to kind of show attachments, but now it's, comes right up out of the box, and I can share not only the knowledge base article, but any associated attachment. Okay, and then here, that's where a little bit you kind of see right here. So you really kind of see the old experience here, how this really kind of used to help out. It would kind of say if it was approved, if it was published. Well, they kind of got rid of that. So they cleaned it up a little bit, and they really kind of said, like as you can see here, it's very, very simple, very driven. We can see it. And again, if you want to see any of those attachments, I can go ahead and open that up, and it'll not only show the article, but it'll show the attachment as well. okay, which I thought to be very helpful. In some organizations, we've actually attached some videos and how-tos. So not only did we have the documentation, but we had some of the videos, which really, really helped. Love this new feature, because now, again, we're kind of talking about that swarming, how to, if I'm taking this particular, this particular case, I'm chatting, maybe with a customer, or in this case, I'm just using customer service. I'm an agent. I'm opening up a ticket. I'm just, working on it. And what I can quickly do is I can actually open up my Teams collaboration, and I can start to see who's available that can go ahead and help me, solve this particular case. And that again can be, again, this is all based upon security, your team's security. So if you only have access to maybe only your customer service or other technical support engineers, it'll certainly adhere to all the security policies. But this way, I can easily interact again with a subject matter expert. Maybe I need some technical expertise on this, and not having to wait to send emails back and forth. Jump right into a Teams, Teams application, and I've got all the information right here for me with that person. So a great embedment. They're actually embedding it right into the side panel, as like shown right here. Again, we kind of talked about this. I did want to kind of throw this back in here in customer service, because again, if I'm looking at cases, if I'm looking at contacts, records, any in the system, that side panel is, again, I think is a huge, huge help to everything to really kind of help us, navigate things and without having to double click and move things along. So again, great customer service improvement with that sidebar capability. Around the customer management side of things, they're able to run a lot more different things. I could probably spend easily the next hour on this. Again, if you do want more information on this, please put a comment or a question inside here. We'll try to get back with you. But then again, we'll definitely kind of run through this, because the case management side added a lot more, agent UI capabilities. It added the ability to really kind of hone into. We've kind of seen a lot of these, SLA timers. Those we can actually create our own KPIs. So they were really excited about that. The case management side on the subject. This easily now, we can actually use a control on your existing field. So if you have, again, if you use the subject area, the subject tree, and again, it's just not very easy to use, we can now keep your exact same tree, use your existing one, and it's just a different control, right? So it's actually a lot easier to navigate now and search for that information. So lots of different features right there. But like I said, I could spend a lot of different time in looking at many of the different features here, for sure. Okay, so like I said, kind of talking about, we talked about the new control features. Now when you actually open up the customer service workspace, where here you can actually work on multiple cases at the same time. Okay, and you can work on different cases, different records. You can, take a phone call, you can, take a chat, and it kind of builds up the, all the different sessions over here. What they've also actually added, to the customer service workspace out of the box was if you've deployed the connected field service, which looks at all your IoT alerts. I can now view all my customer assets, all my service activities, and scheduling. So it's a quick way that we've already embedded those controls already into the customer service workspace, which again really extends the features and functionality depending on if you're working with IoT, field service capabilities in your customer service. Okay. Here's a universal scheduling. Again, here's another topic that we could probably spend easily another hour on. They've added that new scheduling board, which really kind of expands a lot of the capabilities, where we can actually start to better drag and drop. You look at conflict resolution, yeah, there's so many different pieces here. But if you're interested and you have field service and you work with your customer service and field service, work very tightly together, I would say go ahead, reach out to us. Let's do a deeper dive into this, because here's a piece that's really has done some changing in the past. Okay. Quickly, just kind of talking about this, we talked about the Omnichannel Voice. This was just released probably within the last week or two. But again, this allows us now to take phone calls and have it automatically integrated into Dynamics 365 using 100% Microsoft. Uses the Microsoft Teams platform and the Azure Communication Service. So again, you can bring your own telephone numbers, get new telephone numbers, 800 numbers, local numbers. They've got it all. We can do all the routing capabilities. So this is a real big change, obviously for us inside the system. But right out of the gate, version 1.0, they've built in call intelligence. We can record the conversations. It's got speech to text transcription. So as I'm talking with the customer and the agent, that's transcribing it in real time. Comes very, very handy if you're going over complex issues, or if you've got a customer that they have to read off a serial number. It's showing the agent what that serial number is right on the screen without having to have to constantly ask for it. But we've got a lot of different transfer capabilities. We can transfer it to other agents and queues. We can actually even transfer them to a Microsoft Teams inside there, or to an external number. Okay, so we can do that. Of course, it takes inbound and outbound calling. We can do that. And really, I can still do from a supervisor. Those of you that have used the Omnichannel, looking at chat, when I can actually monitor all the chats or messaging, I can actually do that with voice now at the same time. And using sentiment analysis, my manager can look at all the real-time sentiment and maybe have to monitor, listen, or barge in to maybe a conversation that's going a little bit too south. Okay, and because of recording, we can run it back for training purposes and other things. Okay, so now with that, I'm going to go ahead and transfer this off over to Kevin, and he's going to review the field service with you.
Awesome, thank you, John. Great stuff. Okay, guys, for field service, there's been a lot in the works over the past quarter on field service. Much of this is, has been released or newly released as GA as of October. So of these 13 features, 7 of them are in GA. All of them are available. All 13 are available either in a preview or even an early access, which means you can opt into the features. So that's great to know. And we're really covering 3 core themes. The first being, tailoring customer engagements. That's how we engage our customers through a portal. I'll show some detail around that. The second theme is around your employee effectiveness. This takes the form of both, the frontline worker and how they're working on the mobile app in the field. It also takes the form of, productivity enhancements around the universal scheduling that we spoke about earlier. And then there's some optimized service type features kind of in that third column. All of these are generally available at this point, getting into things like work order pricing, work order simplification, really how we engage work orders, all the way down to some newly released features around kind of enabling location sharing for your organizations. So let's get into it. All right, so hey, the first feature I want to cover is the new customer portal homepage. This has just been brought into preview, and basically, in the old experience, this portal kind of looked a little bit more like the customer care portal or the customer service portal. But now what we're doing is we're allowing both self-service scheduling, where an organization can see all of their history, right on the main page when they log in. They can see all the, the status of all their work orders, anything that's upcoming. They can, 2 main features from this page, book new appointment, which we'll show next, and also view the live map, which allows us to see kind of the live status of a service technician as they're en route to your customer location. Moving on, self-service scheduling. This is new here, and basically this allows a user to go in, choose a service from your catalog, the type of service, find the day that they want to schedule. Of course, we could do things like blocking out times where service is not available. This all ties into resource availability from your team to be able to provide these services. Factors in things like drive time. Allows the customer to do self-service scheduling and then bring that kind of full circle. View the status of that technician over here on the left as they're en route to your location. Yep, so that's the kind of the en route to your location. John covered a little bit on some of the resource scheduling that's provided in customer service, also provided in field service, of course. One of the enhancements here is we provide a lot more statuses and colorization. I'm not showing all those colors here, but basically as our work orders have different statuses, there's a legend on the right-hand side that'll just kind of light up and allow us to quickly filter across status, which is very, very nice. So some really nice improvements on the scheduling view. There's a nice daily view now that kind of breaks down kind of more in a grid format for readability. So that's there. Hey, and also coming in this release, we have enhanced mobile app support. So I'm going to point you to the bottom left over here, where we look at two apps. There's a legacy app on the right-hand side in the green. That is support for that app is going to end June 2022. You can see that in the small text. There is a new app available for field service. It's the orange variety. You'll find that, of course, in your app store. And improvements that have been made on the app. Offline is improved. Integration Outlook is improved. We can do things like photos in the field, scanning barcodes in the field. This one bullet point here is around deep links, and where that's interesting is maybe I'll send you an email out to someone in the field that'll contain a link that'll take them to the exact screen in the field service app. So that's what deep linking will provide. So kind of think of email to field service app connectivity. And then what's coming now, it is in preview, is Microsoft Teams integration. So I can, while I'm in the field on the field service app, pull up a Teams interaction with one of maybe a back office support person, engage in some chat around a work order, and have all of that chat history captured as part of that work order within Microsoft Teams. So that's very, very exciting to see as well. Yeah, and so also just on the desktop side, Teams is embedded in the desktop as well here. So that's also coming it's in preview right now. Here basically we can we can have a conversation that's not related to a work order. In the prior example, the dialogue was mostly related to a work order. I may just have a need that I need to satisfy or do some research on. I can, engage someone on Teams, complete that chat session, and then link it back to a work order. Link it back to the case and just have it flow all the way through. So all those conversations get associated to the work order. And what's nice about that is that as new people are brought in to serve more complex needs around collaboration, they'll be able to see all of that history of both, customer communications and the internal communications, tied in to the work order. Okay, hey, that's what I wanted to cover on field service. Hey, I'm going to just pick up on sales here, guys, and we'll continue. So 3 main features that we're covering in sales. At Ignite this year, Microsoft released what they called Context IQ. And what Context IQ is, it's really a new way to collaborate. It's kind of a re-envisioned selling experience. It's more connected to your customers. So we're going to share a little bit about what's behind that. It's bringing that Teams thread back in for more collaboration internally as well, and then just being more productive from both a mobile perspective. Having better at your fingertips ability to kind of close out on appointments through the mobile device, getting better visualizations around the pipeline, and then enhanced quoting features. Now, where sales is a little bit different than field service is very mature. Most of those features are in GA at this point. On the sales side, I'm going to show you things that are available now in preview. Not many of these features are yet generally available, but they will be, brought into preview and released through the course of the next 3 months. So that's kind of the story on the sales side. So I mentioned Context IQ. This is a bit of a flavor of what's going on here. We can make Teams calls directly from Dynamics 365. So that brings your sales teams, more, front and center into using Dynamics 365 as part of their daily routine. We don't have to switch applications, to jump over to customer calls in Teams and then kind of switch back. And as part of that, our conversation threads, our note taking, our collaboration is all tied directly to that, the lead or the opportunity or the account that we're working with. Context IQ is real-time analytics. You see that in some of these re-envisioned dashboards just here on this screen. I'll cover those in a moment. I mentioned that, connectivity to our D365 activities as we're engaging, oftentimes through Teams. Third-party telephony system calling, inbound and outbound calls. When we're working leads, we can initiate outbound calls directly from Dynamics, through the Teams channel. And both inbound calls can cause interaction to pop up. You see that on the bottom right here on the screen here, where an inbound call is coming. It's tied to a contact that's tied to this opportunity, and we get a little toast to be able to kind of answer that call right through Dynamics. So that's pretty incredible. Finally, we'll talk a little bit about screen recording, or excuse me, call recording. John mentioned that earlier as that new voice channel, first party from Microsoft, is being offered here. We can decide to do, only the seller only side of a call recording, to capture, what was said during the sales process, or we can do both sides of a call recording. We'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like here in just a second. So this is kind of the main capstone theme for this release. When we do Teams chat, you can just kind of see some of those options here on this screen, where we see, we can chat with a group. We can see who's tied into the opportunity here up on the top right. Who are all those, key people that are supporting this opportunity. We can chat with them as a group. We can chat with them as a person. We can, open their contact card if they're on the customer side, and capture all of those interactions, right here within Dynamics. So this is now available in preview. So if you have questions about this, we'd love to engage you to check this feature out. Moving on to the next feature on the sales side, pipeline management. Again, part of that Context IQ. I always made the comment that those Dynamics dashboards haven't been updated for like 15 years. And here we have some great new visualizations, real time, around the health of our pipeline. Yeah, and I'll just leave it at that. I think the picture speaks for itself, obviously, but we can look at the health of our deals. These insights are actually backed by AI, so you're going to see a lot of themes and continued themes around artificial intelligence and how that makes our data story, or your data story, how that enhances your data story. Moving along, this is a great feature now available to you, fully released by Microsoft for what's called the Intelligent Work List. Basically what's happening here is we can prioritize leads to your sellers and interactions kind of based on different sequences that you set up for how you want to drive engagement through your sales process. The AI engines will actually bring the most relevant, the highest priority leads to the top of this list of work. And then as you click down the left-hand side, across those leads, that next best action will show right up on the lead in Dynamics. So that's great to see. It just kind of gives the truly a guided process for the salesperson to follow when working, when prospecting. Mobile for sales. These features are not yet released, but they're coming in toward the end of this year. Basically, sorry guys, I think the key here is usability, right? It is like the dynamic system, has been all along, but that post-meeting, follow-up and automating that process, making it very easy to just, click through, take notes, provide some automation around conversations. If I click out to Teams for a phone call through here, those transcripts will be recorded. And I'll talk in a little bit about how some of those insights are gathered around conversations that tie to interactions that you're having. That kind of takes us to this screen, right? Let's look at a customer interaction and really focus in on what was said, what was done, and how we capture our notes and our follow-ups for a customer interaction. So I know personally I struggle with this, right? It's note taking, capturing those follow-ups as related to a conversation that I had. Today we store all that in memory. We try to find time to go over to the side and recall from our memory. What we're actually doing here is we're recording a transcript of the conversation, A to Z. You see that on the right-hand side of the screen. We can block that up into kind of different chunks if you want. We can take notes related to the transcribed conversation. You see that on the bottom, right? This is the greeting part. This is the request part of the conversation. Maybe there's a part where it was a specific call out as part of that meeting that you were interested in, and you want to just take a note for that segment. You can do that here. And then your overall call minutes, your call notes are copied here, are entered here. And then highlights are driven through AI, so that's awesome. Right, when a customer says something like, I have an objection, or I would like to, cover this as a follow-up, those highlights get automatically surfaced, and then we can manually record action items as well. So that's a great way to do kind of meeting capture, meeting insights, and meeting follow-ups as well. So this is available in preview. We'd love to engage with you further around those capabilities. Finally, we've had predictive lead scoring, in some form over the years, but it always kind of just followed, the provided model. And what we can do now is build out our own models with our own attributes, and improve the way that we want to score, or that you want to score your leads or your opportunities. So the insights can be kind of modeled. We can, pass in attributes such as, overall, pipeline size, customer sentiment, of course, industry, whatever it is. And what AI does is it uses a model that we train based on your data, and then it allows us to predict with some level of certainty, kind of where you fall. To kind of drive these predictive insights related to your, in this case, opportunities. So great to know that we have more control over how those models are maintained, and how, what types of inputs we feed into these prediction models. All right, hey, so that covers it on the sales side. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to John to cover on marketing.
All right, thank you. Great job. Thank you, Kevin. So let me go ahead and show my screen, and we'll start kicking off. Okay, so we're just going to cover now, just kind of following on. We're going to cover our last topic here, which is the marketing module. The marketing module, had some really fantastic releases here that we're about to show you. But I was maybe thinking that maybe it's a little bit lighter than the other ones. And the reason for that is Microsoft kind of renewed its feature set inside marketing earlier in the year. So I mean, I think it was a fantastic release, had a lot of new feature and functionality to it. So again, didn't have a ton of Wave 2 pieces, but talking with Microsoft's product owners and managers, looks like the 2022 Wave 1 release looks like it's got a very healthy pipeline of features. But let's just kind of talk about which ones are here coming out. So the first one I want to talk about is the highlights. 3 main highlights here. They did a lot more with analytics and AI, using the AI-powered suggestions to automatically generate the content for emails. So if anybody else hasn't really looked at that, I mean, that's the ability for us to kind of generate content based upon a lot of the segmentation. So it's going to give you suggestions always off to the side. I think it's very similar to like when you're in PowerPoint now and you're designing and you're putting different pictures up there and so on and so forth, and it gives you those design ideas. So very similar to those. I'm a huge fan of the natural language to create target segments. Just being able to type in and look at some of that data makes it very, very simple for those that just don't have coding or filtering skills or those really complex things. We'll just kind of type in some words and it gets me to my data. I'll show you one of those a little bit later on. It's got the optimized capabilities for the new outbound marketing editors with both A and B testing. So that's a fantastic capability, obviously right there, and it added some new feature functionality. And we can monitor how our consumption is being tracked against our quota. So those are across multiple areas inside the application. That's not only looking at the notifications such as emails, SMS now is also in there, but our web pages, events, and so on and so forth. So I mean, the last bullet point here with the analytics is really kind of how we can measure our customer journeys across new ways where we can actually put additional goals at each individual step, and we can monitor that. We can actually hover over any one of those journeys and tasks and get those goals right there on the screen very quickly. Great feedback, to how effective our journeys are going. We can connect now to customer insights. So, I mean, customer insights is a fantastic tool where we can, take our siloed data, sources across the company, put it into customer insights, and there we can do all of our data mapping, and ultimately we can actually get to a golden record. And now we have, easy ways we can connect into that. So again, if it's based upon segmentation, what kind of data that you're uploading from multiple data source systems, being able to connect into customer insights, much easier now. So it's fantastic. I did mention that we have native, integrations now with SMS messaging using Twilio or Telesign as your integration. A lot of people, have also asked me on this in the past and saying, with Power Automate, can we still use some of those capabilities? The answer is absolutely. So we can still integrate some of those, but with the SMS, Twilio, and Telesign, they have some easy integrations. Okay, the emails, being able to create some of those emails and make them look extremely professional. I've actually have been able to do some in some of my demos in the past. That makes me look like a marketing genius. But with easy drag and drop pictures and context menus, it makes it very simple. In the past, I mean, to be able to get intricate detail, you'd have to do it at the HTML level. But now with this, you actually have options for both. You can drag and drop all your context, all your pictures, and have a lot of different, components to it, such as links and change format. But here, if I wanted to, I actually can go back into HTML and actually code it that way. So it offers both right in the same UI. So a lot of personalization. I think when it really comes down to it is we can now personalize all these different events, all these different communications and emails out to our customers and really give it that personalized view. I'm going to show you a couple different ways where they've really allowed it to really kind of give it that extra capability. We've even, here at Arbella have created some IP that actually allows, an organization that would serve maybe multiple marketing agencies or agents, and it can kind of serve as the ability to communicate with customers and then use those particular agencies or external agencies or external agents, their information and their logo. So everything is personalized, based upon your customers' needs and your agency or external agents' needs as well. So taking a look at that, again, I really like some of these. I think it's a very simple one, but you know what? At the end of the day, when you're creating different segments, now we have the ability to use natural language. And I know it's a little bit difficult to see here, but I can actually build my query with that natural language. Okay, so what I'm actually doing here is I'm just kind of telling them that I'm looking for someone that has been born between 2 different days here, and 1970 and 2000, and makes an annual income greater than 5,000. So I'm going to make that one of my segments. Okay, but by just typing those pieces in, okay, and I'm just going to kind of see contacts who were born between 1970, 2020, and it just kind of cut me off a little bit here, and annual income. It automatically built that information and built my query for me. So now what I can easily do here is I can go ahead and save that, and that's how easy it was to kind of use that natural language, which again, may be easily overlooked, but for those that are kind of quickly creating segments and does not require you to go to IT or technical resource, just type it in and go from there. Optimizing the performance of emails, right? So we can actually do a full outbound, as I mentioned, outbound email editor, which you're really kind of seeing right here. I'm able to drag and drop all through my toolbox, multiple layouts. I've got multiple examples that they've provided right out of the box, so you're not working from that blank canvas. I can drag and drop all these different design elements, such as images and buttons and videos, quickly right up there very quickly. As I did mention, not only you can kind of work hand in hand as I work sometimes with some of these people. I'm mostly in the designer, and working right with them, they can open up the HTML editor. Okay, so if there's minor tweaks or someone's more comfortable working in HTML, go ahead and do that. And we got both the UI designer and HTML, and then we can easily preview it. Previewing it, I can preview this across multiple devices. Okay, different monitors, different smartphone devices and tablets. What's it going to look like when they pull this email up in different devices? So I've got all those capabilities right there. And of course, with the full A/B testing, I can see all the outcomes of how different users are using it, how they're clicking on it, heat maps to kind of show where they're focusing their attention on, through these insights areas as well. But again, great abilities here to really kind of add that that customization capabilities, but making it very, very simple. Again, we can kind of personalize again all those emails, because most of us, we're dealing with thousands and thousands. In some cases we have hundreds of thousands of different segments that are going out, emails that are going out. So we can now easily add all that personalization. I wish I kind of had both of everything, the previous slide and this one kind of together. But what you're actually able to do, if I want to pull down any kind of and add a field, an attribute, such as the contact's first name, I can go ahead and do that at any time. Okay, so and then if I wanted to add again any additional default data or values, okay, I can actually specify them there. So not only at the label field level, but I can change any one of those to make it very custom to what I'm looking for. Okay, and it's going to go into that contact entity and actually pull in that particular attribute. So again, and you can kind of see here, sorry if it's a little bit small here, but we have the ability, a little chevron here, that will actually pull out all the related, that related's main entity attributes and any related data. So we can actually get much deeper this time into personalizing that. Okay. So, and we can personalize all the content, here. I mean, there's a little button that's actually, that kind of gives us that little icon here where I can actually click on any one of those, and it'll actually again pull up, if I want to change the appointment name, attribute, any field that's on your message that you want to send, easily I can send that out and then save it. Then again, just like we kind of showed before in the preview, once I actually preview it, then it kind of shows you again, if I'm sending out a text message, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, it gives us immediate feedback, and I don't have to do a lot of testing and publishing. Okay. again, we can actually, we can actually all add multiple content and actually test sample data. This is something that I actually do quite a bit, because I have multiple different customer segments that I send up across multiple industries. So as I work on different customer journeys and messages with personalized emails, I can easily edit that sample data and pull it up, and you can kind of see right here. I can see what it's going to look like right away. Again, I don't have to go send an email, wait for it to come through, look in another application. I can do that all inside, inside one application. Okay. I added this conditional content area here because I talked a ton about, here's this non-technical way. It's a low-code way of me being able to personalize, using different attributes and quickly actually, enables me to like test it. But yes, there is a full SDK now where we can do if and then and else statements, inside the HTML editor, where we can really, obviously, really kind of break that down and really, expand out those capabilities. So it is extremely flexible now. It's, it's very intuitive. It helps the non-technical users when sending and creating email content out very quickly. But there again, if, to take it to the next level and add, multiple levels of flexibility, they have the ability to do conditional content as just one example here through the HTML editor. Okay, talked about this, love this because it's a very simple integration, right? I mean, they actually, now have like a little package. Now we can, quickly install, and you can choose now if, as part of your customer journey, if you want to, let's say, send out a text message. If someone's clicked on a web page or an event or maybe an email, or maybe your orchestration simply says here's all my users that prefer, because maybe we sent out a text and we sent out an email, and now I've got a better segmentation of it. Who are my users that actually answer to emails versus SMS or text messages? And if it's a text message, we can easily do that. And again, easily being able to set up both of those now, either using your Twilio or Telesign accounts. Very easily integratable. I'm sorry to get a little technical here, but that integration, does include all the webhooks. So again, sorry for getting a bit technical. Not sure who I got all on the call here, but again, that integration does include the webhooks. So once you get that set up and it's not a day, 2-3 days, a week implementation. It is a wizard. It is a next. I got it set up. I'm connected to my accounts. I'm ready to rock and roll. And as you can quickly see here, once that's up and running, I can easily use the same editor to show on any of the information that I want, drag and personalize content like we just showed, and again, I can go ahead and save that. I can test it all right here with multiple devices, and when it's actually ready, I like what I see, I can actually click on ready to send, and that's now published and ready to rock and roll. Okay. So obviously right here, I mentioned the customer insights. We can take all the data now that we just talked about. I didn't go into depth into customer insights. Again, that's a tool we can use to, look at the company's siloed data, okay, across multiple applications. We've got customers that have multiple departments and users that have their own Access databases, their own Excel files. Then, maybe the other half of the company is using SAP, and they've got all these different data silos. They're looking for different bits of piece of information from all those applications. Customer Insights will pull that all into one during their merging and other capabilities, come out with a golden record. Once you've got that golden record, just a little bit as shown here, I can now fuse all those different data targets and sources into one place, and then easily right through here, it is again a menu-driven item. I can now set up my integration with my Customer Insights tool directly into here. Okay. All right, and that will conclude this particular session on the 2021 release Wave 2. We're very excited about it, and look, if you guys want any additional information, we had a lot of content to cover over there. We'll go back, look at all the different questions that we did receive. We thank you for everybody's feedback, And if you want more information, please reach out to us using one of these contact links here, and someone will get back to you and do a much deeper dive into it. So again, I thank you for your time.